A lot of farmers wait until something goes wrong before they find out if they're actually protected against it. A slip and fall on your property by a customer that gets sick and blames it on your product, a lawsuit that could be filed against your farm. By those times, it's too late to set up an LLC. If those things happen, it's too late to get insurance to cover that. This stuff is boring, I know, but it could mean the difference between having a really bad day and actually losing your farm. And that's what we're going to talk about here in Module 4, protect what you're building. Set the business up right before you need to. Before you worry about revenue targets and marketing strategy and how many animals you're going to have, you need a legal farm structure that essentially separates your farm business from your personal assets. Farming's a little different, not like a business where you open a bakery down the street or you have a store somewhere. When you run a farm, it's your land and your home, and your farm is the same thing being run on the same land out of the same buildings and structures. And that separation doesn't happen automatically. You have to build that on purpose. Now, before we get started in this video, I have to say I am not a lawyer, I am not a CPA, I am not an accountant, and I'm not a tax professional. Everything I'm talking about in this module is just from my experience building Longbottom Farm. What I've done, what I've learned, what I wish people would have told me sooner. Now, your situation may be different. I'm going to strongly recommend that you run any decisions you're making, either based on this video or not based on this video, by a CPA, a professional tax person, a lawyer, before you make any of these decisions. There's a lot to talk about here, but I'm going to try to dwindle it down into just a few specific key points. One, if you're operating as a sole proprietor, that means your farm, the business, and your home and your land on the farm are the same thing. If someone sues the farm, they're suing you personally. And in that case, your house and your land could be on the table. What we set up here at Longbottom Farm is an LLC, which is a limited liability company. And that provides a legal separation from our land and our house and the farm business. Now, this is not a guarantee, but it does put a wall between our personal assets and our farm liability. In Virginia, forming an LLC cost us $50 and about 15 minutes of time. And then it renews every year at $50. It was very simple to set up, and every state is different. There are companies out there that will set these up for you. There are online companies. If you just look up LLC in your state, you'll find lots of resources for that. If you were to ever end up in court, the existence of an LLC and how you operated that LLC, they matter big time. Courts will look at that as whether you actually treated your farm, the LLC, as an entity, or if you basically just set that up to use the farm name. Another thing we did here on the farm is we actually consulted an attorney, and for an hour a time, $100 and some bucks. It was the best $100 and some bucks we ever spent, and just went over what we wanted to do, specifically talking about an LLC. And I can tell you one thing, a 1-hour consult with an attorney is way cheaper than a lawsuit that you may have to settle by not talking to that lawyer. So highly recommend seeking out a lawyer to discuss what you want to do on your farm, how your business should be set up to protect your family and your assets. Next thing we'll talk about is farm insurance. Your homeowner's insurance is not farm insurance. As a matter of fact, most homeowner policies explicitly exclude farming operations. And that's not something you want to find out when you have to make a claim or someone else is making a claim. Product liability insurance matters when you're selling directly to customers. Someone getting sick from your product, whether it was their fault or your fault, doesn't matter, it can result in a claim. We have to take our products to USDA processors. Things can happen. Someone could buy your chicken and leave it in their car all day and then think it's still okay to go ahead and heat it up and eat it, and then they get sick. Things can happen. Product liability insurance is there to help if a claim is ever made and there's a payout that needs to be made. That's where that insurance comes in. There's general liability coverage, and this covers incidents on your property. Are you thinking about doing farm tours? Maybe you're doing a U-Pick operation, or like us, we have customers come onto the farm to pick up their orders. These are all scenarios where theoretically someone could get hurt, whether it's just a trip and a fall, you leave a piece of equipment out, it's icy, things happen, and you need to be protected from that. So we talked about product liability insurance. General liability too is something you want to address with your insurance agent or even a lawyer. If you're talking to them, it'll probably be good to bring that up, and they can give you advice on that. Speaking of agents, there are agents out there that specifically handle farm policies. There are insurance companies that are specialized in farms. So just do a quick Google search, farm insurance, farm lawyer, and I'm sure you'll find somebody that can help you with that. Also, in our last video, we talked about USDA and extension offices. Again, those are probably a great resource to ask for CPAs and lawyers that might be able to help with your farm. Now let's talk about separating your finances. What we did with our farm was we opened a dedicated bank account, a business account, the day we created our LLC. Not your personal checking account, not a shared account, but a business account. A separate bank account does two things. One, it makes your bookkeeping dramatically easier because all the farm expenses and income are all in one place. And then another big thing it does is if you ever have to go to court, having a separate account demonstrates to the court that you're actually functioning as a separate business entity, meaning your business is separate from your property and your house, your personal life. Another thing we did to make it easier for us, and I'm not advocating for opening credit or taking credit, but we got a specific farm credit card, a business card, just for the farm. That way, all the purchases that we made would go on that business credit card, and then we would pay off that credit card with money from the farm business account. So it gave us, again, bookkeeping, an easy way to keep what was coming in, what was going out, and it also served to separate our business expenses and income from our personal expenses and income. The credit card statement you get from the credit card becomes a perfect spending itemized spreadsheet, essentially, that will make your bookkeeping much easier. This will also make tax time much easier for your CPA if you've got all this stuff in one place. And making things easy for your CPA means that they can do a better job for you in finding deductions, making recommendations, and helping you build your business. And since we talked about taxes, let's talk about taxes and the learning curve. Farm taxes are very different from the taxes you do for your W-2 job. With a farm, you've got things like depreciation, which is something you won't see at your regular job. You've got Schedule Fs, 179s, home office deductions. There's a lot to learn with this. So I recommend, again, starting with a CPA, and specifically a CPA that understands farming. Just like farmers do, some do livestock, some do vegetables. CPAs are the same way. They have their own niches, and you can find one that is specifically in agriculture. Don't assume that just any tax preparer is going to know all the ins and outs of farming. And since I mentioned depreciation, that is a huge thing as a farm that paying a tax person to do will pay dividends in the money they can save you on the taxes that you owe. A good tax CPA very easily pays for themselves time and time again, so highly recommended. Some other things, when you're starting a business, you may file as an LLC but call yourself something else. You would file a doing business as or a DBA. Check with your state, see what they require. Not specific to everyone, but again, some farms may have different aspects of their farm that they're promoting, and it may be all under one umbrella, so a doing business as helps to cover that. Food safety regulations. These could apply to meats, to eggs, to vegetables, and they differ a lot from state to state. So that's something you'll definitely want to check with your state about. Contact the USDA or your local extension office, and they can probably help you, point you in the right direction to figuring out what you need to address concerning food safety. And then talking about food safety, some states require licenses. You need to have a license to be a vendor at a farmer's market, to sell food from your home, to process animals. Again, every state is different, so this is something that you need to look into, though, to make sure you're in compliance. Not being in compliance, whether you agree with it or not, they can shut you down. They have the power to do that. So definitely make sure you check into these things. Again, some of them aren't pleasant. You don't have to agree with all of them, but the speed limit says 55, you need to do 55. And then the last thing I'll mention is workers' comp. Again, that doesn't apply to a lot of farms unless you're hiring help, but it's definitely something you need to look into if you have help. Again, if they get hurt on your farm, there's specific rules and laws that apply to that, and you want to make sure that you're covered for that and that you have the right things in place to address that should it happen. So again, none of this is exciting, and I'm really just skimming the surface on all this stuff, but I wanted to give you just a brief overview of some of the things that we have encountered on this farm, and that really any new farm starting, some points that they should consider. There's no fun in opening up this stuff, but the farms that skip these things are the ones that find out too late. When a claim happens, when they need money for insurance, a regulation is not being followed and they're shut down, again, that's not the time you want to find out. So address this stuff early. Do it once, do it right, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. Well, you still have to think about it, but the main stuff is out of the way. All right, so now after this video, we have got, I think, a full foundation in place of starting a farm. We've got your family aligned, we've got mindset, we've got personal finances in order, we've got a community around us, and our business is properly set up. Starting in the next module, we're getting into numbers, and we're gonna work backwards from real revenue targets to figure out exactly what your farm needs to produce to get there. That's where things start to get interesting. And as always, if you're already selling and your systems are holding you back, fill out the 5-minute questionnaire at Homegrown Hosting. I'll send you a customized plan for your farm in 24 hours that helps get your farm online and selling products from your farm while you work or sleep. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.